Guys, we have an urgent breaking news coming out. US readies nuclear missile test. Alright, so we're going to see what's going on here, guys. This is a big breaking news coming out right now. Let me show you some of this stuff here. US set to launch Minuteman 3 ICBM after US President nuclear testing order. Alright, so we're going to get to all this information here, guys. Do me a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell. For those of you that want to send us letters or prayer requests, you can send it to me, US Santiago, or my wife, Jessica Santiago, at 3432 US Highway 19, number 2, Holiday, Florida, 34691. And for those of you that want to contribute to the channel, we do have the Cash App link and the PayPal link in the comments box and also description box. Thank you again for your support, guys. I really appreciate it. Alright, so here's a picture, and it seems like it's gonna be the same location. This is where they test fired the ICBM Minuteman 3 off the coast of Los Angeles, if I'm not mistaken. They do this like around 1 or 2 a.m. Pacific time. So basically when people are asleep, that's when they test this powerful missile. Alright, so let me just start from the very beginning here. And there's going to be 2 articles. So we're going to start with this one first. Map shows first U.S. nuclear missile test sends Donald comments. Alright, let's see what's going on here. Navigational warnings indicate that the U.S. has scheduled its first test of a nuclear-capable but unarmed intercontinental ballistic missile after the U.S. commander ordered the renewal of testing according to a Newsweek map. Now it says here, we're going to skip all the way to the bottom here. Last week, the U.S. president announced on social media that he had ordered the Department of Defense to immediately begin testing nuclear weapons, as Russia and China, the key nuclear rivals of the U.S., have continued testing their respective arsenals. Now, Energy Secretary Chris Wright later clarified that the test will not include actual detonation. So there ain't gonna be no explosions. There won't be no big mushroom cloud. Alright, so like those previously carried out in the country. Instead, they will involve all other parts of a nuclear weapon to ensure they can trigger an atomic explosion. You know, the one that they drop on 1945, the Fat Man, and I forget the name of the other one. The U.S. military has regularly tested its ICBM fleet, which is part of the nuclear triad, along with nuclear-armed equipment, submarines, and bombers, several times a year to ensure it is safe, secure, effective, and practical in providing strategic deterrence. Now it says here you have citing navigational warnings. Marco Lambrook, a lecturer in the Faculty of the Aerospace Engineering at Delft University of Technology in the Netherlands, said that the upcoming U.S. Minuteman 3 ICBM test launch will occur between Wednesday and Thursday. Look at that. So it's going to happen this week. It's going to happen this week. The Minuteman 3 is going to be unarmed. It's not going to be the real deal, guys. Alright, so we have a date. We have a date. The missile is scheduled to launch from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California and reach the Ronald Reagan Ballistic Missile Defense Test Site on Kwajalein Atoll in the Marshall Island in the Central Pacific, along with 5 designated debris zones. So this is not a shocking news. Again, they do this like at least once a year or twice a year, and they always do this around, you know, this time, this, like, you know, almost near the 2025, the end of 2025. But this is gonna be unarmed. This ain't gonna be like the real explosion stuff. If confirmed, the flight path will be similar to a previous test launch conducted in May, when an unarmed missile equipped with a single re-entry vehicle designed to carry a warhead traveled west about 4,200 miles after launching from California. This will also mark the second time since September that U.S. nuclear forces have conducted a test when a submarine fired four unarmed Trident II D5 life extension submarine launched ballistic missiles in the Atlantic Ocean of Florida. According to the Federation of American Scientists Nuclear Information Project, the U.S. Air Force has 400 Minuteman III ICBM deployed in silos across Colorado, Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, and Wyoming with a range of more than 6,000 miles. Give me a second here, guys. Give me a second. 6,000 miles. Give me a second. Russia to Montana. So look at this. So again, this is very important. I'm giving you guys some very important information here. So the distance between Russia and Montana. So you guys know Montana, that's where we have the Minuteman III. The distance between Russia and Montana varies significantly depending on the specific location, but flying from Moscow to Billings, Montana is approximately 5,000 up to 5,200 miles at closest point across the... So again, our stuff, the Minuteman III could reach Russia. It could reach Russia. All right. Our Minuteman III. All right, so we have a Minuteman III with a range of more than 6,000 miles. So Montana to Russia, that's 5,200 miles. So we do have something that could reach there. Why? It says here 800 nuclear warheads are assigned to the Minuteman III ICBM fleet, with each deployed with only one. Now the missiles are technically capable of carrying 2 or 3 each if the Air Force chooses to equip extras. Wow. The Air Force conducts several Minuteman III flight tests each year. Now, these are long-planned tests, and the Air Force consistently states that they are not scheduled in response to any external event, the Nuclear Information Project wrote in a report. In a press release regarding the May Minuteman III launch, the Air Force Global Strike Command said that the routine and periodic event is one of more than 300 similar tests conducted so far, and is not a response to the current world event. Yeah, that right there, I find it baloney. A lot of this stuff is because what's happening in these nation against nation. It is a DEFCON warning. So I do believe that a lot of this is related to what's going on with these biblical wars. So what people are saying? Well, the U.S. Air Force Global Strike Command said in a press release in May, this test launch is part of routine and periodic activities. Like I mentioned at the very beginning, I'm not too shocked about this test here. We do this at least once or twice a year. Activities designed to demonstrate that the U.S. nuclear deterrent remains safe, secure, reliable, and effective in deterring 21st century warnings and reassuring our allies. With more than 300 similar tests conducted in the past, this test is part of the nation's ongoing commitment to maintaining a credible deterrent and is not a response to current world event. Didn't Donald say we're testing ours because other countries are testing theirs too. It is because of other world events. It says here the Federation of American Scientists Nuclear Information Project said in a report on U.S. nuclear weapons in January. It says here, although the Minuteman III was initially deployed in 1970, it has been modernized several times, including in 2015 when the missiles completed a multi-billion dollar decade-long modernization program to extend their service life until 2030. The modernized Minuteman III missiles were referred to by Air Force personnel as basically new missiles, except for the shell. So what happens next? It remains to be seen how Russia and the Red Dragon will react if a U.S. ICBM test launch proceeds as planned. Moscow recently conducted a test of a nuclear-capable torpedo, while Beijing showcased a new ICBM capable of covering the entire globe. This is a DEFCON warning. It is a serious, serious DEFCON warning. It's a strong message concerning times that we are living. Once again, following the U.S. commander order, the U.S. will conduct its first Minuteman III ICBM test, launching it towards the Kwajalein Atoll. The missile test follows previous tests in May and September. Alright, so the rest seems like it's similar. It's similar to the to Newsweek. But again, these are very disturbing times that we are living. Donald made they say that this test has nothing to do with world events, but Donald made the decision to restart nuclear testing after, there you go, Vladimir demonstration drills. So it has a lot to do with world events. Donald means business. Nuclear equipment tests to begin in the coming days, this Wednesday or Thursday. And I guarantee it's going to happen around 1 or 2 a.m. The U.S. is preparing to test launch once again the Minuteman III, capable of carrying a nuclear warhead. The launch from Vandenberg base in California will be the first since U.S. commander ordered nuclear testing to resume. It is scheduled for November 5th or the 6th, so right after the election. Right after the election. It seems like there's going to be a lot of things that is going to happen right after the election. And let's stop here for a moment. Have you guys noticed that this stuff happens during the election night or after the election? When Donald won November 4th, entering November 5th. It was still November 4th in the West Coast, but in the East Coast, it was already November 5th. 1 o'clock in the morning, the U.S. test launched an ICBM Minuteman III during election night. We're about to see that again, election night. So we are definitely seeing something here, guys. They do this type of stuff during or after the election. All right, so it says here the launch from Vandenberg base in California will be the first since Donald ordered nuclear testing to resume. It is scheduled for November 5th or the 6th, according to Newsweek, and I just read that news article to you guys. The U.S. Air Force has 400 Minuteman III missiles deployed in silos across Colorado, Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, and Wyoming, with a total of 800 nuclear warheads assigned to them. The U.S. commander made the decision to restart nuclear testing after Vladimir demonstration drills. So again, someone said that's a missile test, not a nuclear weapon test, unless Donald wants to teach. Okay, so I'm not going to say the rest. Testing ICBM is not a nuclear test. Give me a second here, guys. All right, so it seems like this is all the information here, guys. Hold on, give me a second here. RT News just post something. U.S. is preparing to launch Minuteman Icmb, so we already know that. So again, you see that? That's a silo. I'm not gonna play the video due to copyright. I'm getting hit too much. Ooh. Ugh. All right, so it fired the Icmb. That's what it is. You see that? Right here, it's fired. And it's heading towards like the Pacific Ocean. All right, something like that is gonna happen this week. Either Wednesday or Thursday. It's gonna happen right after the election. And New York, New York, New York. Man, if you get that Zoran guy into mayor, I feel bad for the apple. Anyway, guys, like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time later. Peace.